I welcome, look forward to, and it's something I'm not going to shy away from. I've got no coaching experience, but I've played with some of the greatest players ever to play the game, learned from them. I played for Hall of Fame coaches, like the gentleman to the right of me, Lou Carnesecca. Played for Bobby Knight, Chuck Daly, Larry Bird. Each and every step along my way, I was surrounded by not only great players, but great coaches. I have books and books and books that I have in my office already from everybody. I'm going to make it, make some adjustments. We have to find out what our players, who our players are before we put a game plan in. But, I have a game plan book where we, 1 year, average 118 points a game. I've been influenced, obviously, strongly by the NBA. As Chris Monash alluded to, over the years, the college game has actually become closer to the NBA game. When I was here at school, believe it or not, there was no three-point line and no shot clock. So with the three-point line, it's a huge factor in the NBA and college. So both making them and defending it is a huge factor. But off the top of my head, Bruce, I want to play up-tempo, aggressive defense, and aggressive on the offensive end. But as far as my experience, I'm going to take it one day at a time, just like I live my life, and get better every day.
Will that be a challenge for you, do you think?
No, that part I don't think is a challenge. The NBA game, we get players 18, 19, 20. If you would walk into an NBA gym nowadays and watch the practice, you would think it was a high school or college practice. And not because they don't have the skill, they're working on their skills. So we don't get finished products in the NBA. And also, a lot of our conversations are mentoring these young athletes and being role models. So just as the game itself has kind of gotten closer together, the people that we deal with are similar. So I also have 2 college sons of my own. So I'm up on the trials and tribulations of that.
Those experiences, and have you spoken to any of them about it?
Yes, I have. I've gotten a lot of support. When I was mulling this over the weekend, I didn't do it on purpose. When I was thinking about this, reached out to a lot of different people and got a lot of support. Larry Bird I spoke with, and Mark Jackson I did speak with, Steve Kerr. And first and foremost, they all said it's so important to have a strong staff. You got to put together the right staff, have it balanced the right way, and have that support. So that's going to be really important for me to get a strong staff around me that not only I feel comfortable with, but they're going to guide me as well. For anyone that saw me play, the one thing I always did, and it was maybe lack of athleticism or lack of talent, I always relied on my teammates. And that's the way I'm going to coach. I'm going to rely on my staff. And that staff's going to be hardworking. I told the guys today, in the college game and also in the NBA game, it's a huge, to me, one of the biggest parts is player development, player skill development, passing, shooting, conditioning. That's going to be a huge focus. And I want to create an atmosphere where our players want to be in the gym. They're not looking at the clock to leave. We're going to make it fun. I'm going to give them things to make them better so they keep coming back. As I develop them as players, I'm going to be developing them as young men.
I do. The team that you played on, some of the greatest that college has ever seen, and obviously 30 years since you guys went to the Final Four, you talk about wanting to build a program again around the New York City players. The teams that have been since your '85 team have always been kind of compared to those teams, somewhat overshadowing them. Do you think this program can again produce teams like that?
No doubt about it. That's why I'm here. And talent. Don't forget about talent. They were from New York, but we had a lot of talent. Mark Jackson, Bill Wennington, Mike Moses, we go on and on. They're all hanging up there. They were from New York. Malik Sealy, some incredible names in St. John's history. And they were from New York. but they were talented, and they loved to play, and they played the right way.
Chris, can you also explain, what your ties are to scouting right now, how aware you are of the college game because you've been scouting it, and also how important that first hire was yesterday?
Very important. Matt, are you here? Here's my first hire. Stand up, man. You might be standing up. Matt is a St. John's graduate and a former manager for the basketball team. He was on Fred Hoiberg's staff at Iowa State and one of the best recruiters in the country. And he'll be on my staff. He's the first guy named to my staff.
Next question, left side, JP.
JP Pelsman, Bergen Record, North Jersey. This is for Dr. Gembason. Bobby, I'd like to ask you, obviously I'm sure since you got on this campus, you've heard about players like Chris and others that make such a difference here. Meeting him personally, what impressed you the most as far as his qualities for this job?
I first met Chris about 3 months ago, and one thing that I noticed was his love for the university. It was not really about him as our best player, but his passion and commitment for the university. I would like to surround myself with people like Chris.
Roger wanted to let this basketball season play out to the very end, but you met Chris Mullin. Was there a time when it first dawned on you that if you needed to make a change, he might be the right guy?
When I was appointed as president of St. John's University over a year ago, the Board of Trustees told me that one of the major decisions that I have to make as a new president is the decision on the head basketball coach. So the board has formed an athletic committee chaired by Sister Margaret Fitzpatrick, who's with us here today, to help me as a new president understand the issues involved in that decision process. So I actually started this process in the fall. I have attended not only the games of our basketball team, but I showed up in several practices, getting to know them. I have also sought out the input of many of our alumni, including former players. I spoke with Bill Winnington, I spoke with Jason Williams, Derek Turner, many of our players, just asking for their input about the direction of our basketball team. So let me say this. I'd like to publicly thank Steve Lavin for what he has done for St. John's basketball team. And in particular for bringing us to respectability. But Steve mentioned that in life, change is inevitable. As president of St. John's University, I strongly believe this was a change for the future of our basketball team. And once I made that decision, then we decided that who would be the best coach for St. John's basketball team, and I can assure you, I found him on my right. Thank
you. 21-year-old Chris Mullin tell Coach Mullin about today.
Well, thank you for welcoming me home. It's great to be home. I never, at 21, we'll put it this way. In my phone here, I have a lot of numbers and a lot of coaches. There's only one number in there that says coach, and that's Coach Garnaseka. Everyone else has a coach in the name, he just has coach. So to me, there's only one coach, Coach Garnaseka. But it is strange to hear Coach Mullin. Someone might say that I probably will turn around right away. But I'll get used to it. I'll get used to it.
We're going to take two more questions, Ian.
Chris Ian O'Connor with ESPN.com. Congratulations. The fact that you played the game obviously is the highest level, Dream Team, Hall of Fame, NBA All-Star. How much of that would be the centerpiece of your recruiting effort? And do you think today's 16 and 17-year-old prospect would be able to identify with and connect with just who you were, the magnitude of you as a player?
Well, I think kids probably know me from video games. Because I hear a lot, just walking around town, I played you on this game and you scored 35 points. I said, well, I wasn't that good, but it makes me feel good. But I do think, my experience, Ian, at all levels, high school, college, NBA, my experience in the front office, scouting. I told our guys today, what I want to do, whether I'm recruiting a high school player, is let them know what I can do for them, not only on the court, and develop them as good a player as they can be, but also develop their character and be a good role model and mentor. But I do think, a lot of these kids, hopefully the guys that we get, have aspirations. Not everybody gets to play in the NBA. Everyone has aspirations. So it's very important to have that insurance, and that's your education. That I'll always stress, but I'll also give them 100% of my knowledge, effort, and time to develop them as far as they can go. And I was telling the guys today, there's a lot of different areas in sports that you can get into. I've been a GM, I've worked on ESPN, now I'm a coach. There's so many different areas that you can get into, and a lot of it will depend on how you conduct yourself on a daily basis. So I think when I sit down in the living room and recruit a young student athlete, I'll touch on all of that. I won't overemphasize my experience. I can share that with them, but I think it's more what they're looking for. If I have what they're looking for, it's going to be a match made in heaven.
Does the basketball budget remain the same as what Lavin had, or does it increase, decrease, and do you expect Chris's presence to bring more money into the program that will provide the resources he needs to compete at the level he wants?
Very good question. I just saw a blog last night that said just by hiring Chris Mullin as our new coach, that the ticket sales will increase by at least $3 million. No, we are here to make sure that our basketball program will be successful. And I believe with the leadership of Chris Mullin, we will get there. Thank you.
CBS TV. Chris, kind of a two-parter. As a link, a direct link to the glory days, three-time Big East Player of the Year, going to the Final Four, what would it mean to you personally to not only get this program back to the NCAA tournament, but to make runs, Final Fours, and things like that?
That's exactly why I'm here. I really want to get this program back to those days and have it consistent. It's my job to recruit the right players and develop them the right way so we get there. It's going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some patience and a lot of hard work. But in my vision, in my mind, that's what I want to do. I want to get it to where Coach had it and then hand it off to someone else so we have consistency and the thing keeps growing, so we don't have droughts. And I think there's a process to it. Coach laid the blueprint, Joe Lapchick first, Frank McGuire, and so on and so forth. And let me tell you something about Coach Carnesecca, another thing that always pops in my head when I see Richard Lapchick. Richard is a great speaker. I see him out on the road sometimes. I always tell him, I feel like I played for Joe Lapchick. He was dead when I was, born probably, but Coach Carnesecca always paid respect and homage to the people before him. Joe Lapchick, Frank McGuire, who actually recruited me to come here. What a thrill that was. Buck Freeman. And I think it's really important that we understand and always respect our heritage and our tradition. And again, another lesson learned and given to me by Coach Carnesecca. It just popped in my head because I saw Joe Lapchick's name up there. And honestly, I feel like I played for him because I heard so many stories about him. Look, we want to stay in the present, of course, But I think you have to know where you were so you know where to go from there.
All right,